along with that, the child will have other things happening in life. So for example, we had a child who was going to start primary school, and everything was going really well for him. His mother was supporting him through that, everything seemed to be going perfectly. But 2 weeks before the child started this primary school, his grandfather died. The impact that had on him was obviously multiple. So he's starting a new school, his got a bereavement, significant bereavement in the family, and also his mother might not be able to give him the attention that she was giving because she's dealing with her own bereavement. So basically there are multiple things happening at that time. Now these multiple things can work negatively, but they can also work positively. So think about a child who might be struggling with the academic level of studies in secondary school, but if he's got some really good peer support network, doesn't have to be at school, it might be a football club where he's got really good support network. That positive experience will act as a buffer for any negative experience. So if we are aware of that, we are aware of these sort of different experiences, what we can try to do is that make sure that the positive experiences are so strong that it can act as a buffer against any negative experiences. So we can't sometimes stop negative experiences, but we can make sure that the positive are so strong that they act as a buffer. And that's where the role of the teachers come in, where they identify, okay, this is going wrong, but these are the places where we can start putting positive things in for the child. And also the role of the parents comes in there. Okay, and so I'll move to my second low-tech model. In this one you can see there are different colors. So one child is still that same color. This one is the teacher. This is another child, and this is a parent. Now think about the scenario I was talking about the bereavement. If you think about it, there is something changing for the parent. There are some domestic issues, the family issues, that rattles the whole structure. If, for example, something else is happening for another child, again it starts moving everything. And the same thing happens with teachers. So if something's happening for the teacher, then again things might change. So for example, we had a case of a primary school, and now this is within school transition, where children were moving from one class to the other, and they hated the teacher. And this was a teacher, he was meant to have been a really good teacher in the past for all the children, and all these children who were moving into the class were finding it really stressful. They were complaining about the teacher, they were saying they were hating primary school. So these children were P3, they'd already had 2 years of primary school, loved it, and all of a sudden started hating it. And it was really surprising and trying to understand what's happening here. And then it turns out that the teacher was pregnant, early stages of pregnancy, she wasn't well, and maybe her stress levels were turning into shouting or telling children off. But that was having an impact on all the children. So any transitions that are happening for other people can have an impact on the child as well. But on the other hand, any transition that's happening for a child would have an impact on the parent or the teacher. So for example, if I'm removing this, things change not only for the other children, but also for the parents and professionals. So if, let's say, a child is really worried about transition, about moving to a new setting, and they have to travel a distance, this mother who might have till primary school carried on with a part-time job, thinking when my child moves into secondary school, I'll go into a full-time role. Then suddenly the child's having problems. She might have to decide, well, no, maybe that's not what I can do just now. So it's having an impact on the parent, can have an impact on the professionals. And I don't know how many of people in this room are educators or teachers. Okay, quite a lot. Okay, so I don't know how you feel about it, but when I'm at university, I'm thinking now rather than when I used to teach in a school. When my students graduate, I'm really proud of them, what's happening, and when they go past me at payroll, I'm really, really happy. It's a really proud moment. But also I feel a bit sad because it is also a time for loss, because these people you develop relationships with, they're leaving. And then you will have to form new relationships. Now think of a primary school teacher. How many relationships does she form a year, or he? Maybe with 30 children, 30 sets of parents. They move on, and the teacher has to then start that relationship with other children, other families. So all of that, the move for the child is having an impact on the teacher as well. So all these transitions are happening at the same time. And if we don't understand these transitions for other people, we won't be able to support the children either. So if my child is starting school, I'm having significant transitions in my life. I'm so busy dealing with them, how am I going to support my own child? So it's remembering that the transitions that happen are not unidimensional, they are multi-dimensional transitions, and they happen, there are all multiple transitions, and I usually try to think about it as a Rubik's Cube. So if every color is a different person, a child or a teacher, as soon as you move one thing, the whole thing moves, doesn't it? And that happens in terms of transition, but that also applies to any strategies that we put in place. So a child is being bullied, a strategy is put in place in the school to stop bullying, that might have an impact, positive impact on other children, or might have negative impact on other children. So anything that is changed changes everything for everybody. So we need to be mindful of that change that's happening for everybody.